So we're looking at one massive tomato plant here. It's probably 12 feet tall by 20 feet wide. It's got to be 5 or 6 feet deep. So it's an actual tree. I mean, it's huge. It's got, I don't know, 300 green tomatoes on it right now. I'm standing here with Robert Carter. We're just south of Nashville in the Wedgwood, Houston area. Robert, what is your secret for this massive of a plant?
Obedience.
Obedience.
Obedience. Just listen to the Lord and He tells me what to do. I just lay hands on it, pray on it, and just water it and tie it up as it grows.
I mean, did you have to add to this structure to get, it looks like it's kind of growing on your porch.
Well, I built this a couple of years ago because different plants, different species, and it grows like this every year.
And I see all kinds of structural ties on here. How often do you have to work on that?
I tie it up anywhere from every 2 to 3 weeks. I have to tie it up for about 35, 45 minutes.
So, and I mean, are you one of those tomato growers that throws it in the ground as soon as the frost is over? When did you plant this?
Well, no, this year, I know I planted this the end of the second week of June.
Okay, so June, so yeah, wow. And do you do any special fertilizer or anything like that on it?
Nope.
I think people will want to know what's your secret to get this kind of tomato.
No fertilizer, no pesticides. I just come in, and the first time I did this about 5 years ago, my plant had grown up to about 4.5 feet tall, and it only had 6 tomatoes on it. And I had a friend of mine who don't know nothing about planting nothing, and she was telling me about her tomato plants and how good they were doing. So I got upset. I said, man, I'm gonna tear this tomato plant down. This big old plant don't have nothing on it. And then the Lord just brought the scripture to me about Jesus and the fig tree.
Okay.
About 3 weeks later, Pastor, you know this tomato plant has 100 tomatoes on it, and it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing, and it's always been a testimony and a witnessing tool when we go out in ministry.
Yeah. It's kind of a good comparison, that devotion to that, to church and everything, and devotion to your garden. Yeah. So there's a really close similarity to that. Yeah. Do you get to share your tomatoes with them?
All the time. All the time. They always make green tomatoes, fried green tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
But the sad thing about that is, I've given away more than 12 to 1,500 tomatoes, and I'm still waiting on my fried green tomatoes.
I bet you are. And now, is this any specific variety of tomato this year that you're growing?
No, well, this is the Big Mama tomato hybrid, but last year I used that oblong tomato.
Like Aroma?
Aroma, yeah. And the year before that, I think I used the Big Boy, and
yeah.
Every year is a different strand.
So it's not a specific type of tomato that you're growing that's doing this. I think the secret's part of you too, and your process. Yeah.
Hey, prayer and water.
Prayer,
water, tied up. Prune it, cut back.
Yeah. Awesome. So I saw a big tomato plant over at your neighbor's house. Did you have anything to do with that?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I saw it sitting on the porch, and it started out doing really, really well, but then the tomatoes were starting to burn, and they were about to give up on the plant. And I said, no, don't give up on it. And I came back. I waited for about a month, and I wish I would have done it earlier. But I took it out of there, and I dug a hole, and I planted it right there in that spot where it just kept saying, plant it here, plant it here, plant it here. So I just had the knowledge and the unction to plant it there. And when I put it there, I put the boards up. I said, I know it's going to grow at least this tall, so I put the boards up for support and started tying it up. And now you can see it probably about a month later. It was probably about 4 feet then. Now it's right over 8 feet. Wow. Just using the same concept that the Lord gave me for these. I just use the same concept. When it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's true. Well, you're doing something right. I mean, this is easily the biggest tomato plant I've ever seen in Nashville. So, well, I appreciate your time and everything. You are a master gardener here.
Oh, well, I'm just the helper. That's the master gardener, yeah.
There you go.
He's the husband man. He does the pruning and cutting away.